In the summer two in maths, we finished the year six curriculum currently, and in the year six curriculum in summer two, it's just about embedding all the skills and the processes that they've currently learned and applying them to investigations and problem solving. So I just thought I'd take the time to just readdress some of the skills that they've learned across the year that they'll have to apply throughout the summer two term. So column subtraction. A method that's obviously been around since when I was at school, hasn't changed a lot. All about lining up, getting your place value correct. Sometimes we have to exchange, borrowing from our next door neighbour to the left, sometimes across two next door neighbours. Column addition, very similar. Layout wise, it's all about place value and our carryover. When we're carrying over, it's that knowledge that the biggest number that you can have within that column is a 9, so there will be a crossover if it goes above 9. Rounding, something that year 6 tend to struggle with purely because you do it in year 3 and you don't address it again until very odd occasions throughout the time, and then they get questions on it in obviously year 6. So it's thinking about, is that number a 5 or more, then obviously it affects and we round up. If it's below a 5, it stays the same, and it goes down and there becomes a 0 in that element. Factors and obviously multiples. Year 6, we tend to get them confused between the two. So a factor is a number that divides into one number and leaves a whole number. And in year 6 we take it to the next level where we look at two numbers and we'll find common factors, so a number that's a factor of both the numbers, and then we identify the highest common factor. So for these 42 and 28, the highest common factor is 14. And then we have this next element of a factor pair, two factors that multiply to get back to that whole number. I was saying about multiples. Multiples are numbers that are times tables of certain numbers. So a multiple of 12 is any number that's in the times tables of 12. And then we look again, it's similar again, we use that word common. A number that is a multiple of both 12 and 3, or 12, 3 and 4, obviously is 12 on this occasion. Short division, the bus stop method as we call it at school, and we use this when we're dividing by single digit numbers. We have a different method for 2-digit numbers, and when we carry out our division, and if we're left with a remainder, our year 6s are taught to leave it as a fraction, because that number, yes, it's left over, but it still needs to be divided by the number that we're dividing by, so we leave it as a fraction with the denominator being that 5. Then some of our other skills I was saying about, we have another skill for division. This is called long division. So we use this when we're dividing by 2-digit numbers. So on this occasion it's 15. We start off by thinking about our key facts chart, and usually we focus on the 2, 5 and the 10 times table of that number, and we're looking to see how many 15s go into the number. So obviously at the start, when we're dividing by a 2-digit number, this first number is always 0 because it's a 1-digit number that we're dividing into. And we basically do lots of subtractions. So on this occasion we could take 30 away from 36 and it's 2, but we're left with this 6. So the 6 is our answer that's left, and we drop the 4 down, and then we're looking at the 64. Again, we can take 4 lots. We've got that 4 that's left over, and then the 0 comes down. And sometimes it does go down to 0. Again, on this occasion, we've got a remainder, so we leave that as a fraction. And again, it's still having a denominator of 15. Prime numbers. So no even numbers are prime number except 2. No prime numbers end in 5 except 5. And the digits can't add up to 3 except 3. So there's some of the rules that we look at. We always do investigations to do with prime numbers. So usually we expect the year 6s to know them up to 15, and then obviously after 15 they can work them out using our rules. Square numbers, so a number times by itself. And again in year 6, because they have the knowledge of the times tables up to 12 times 12, we'd expect them to know the square numbers for 12. Cube numbers, a little bit different. Obviously, when they know the square numbers, they use their skills of multiplication to work out that cube number. So that element that they know 5 times 5 is 25. They may not know that 5 cubed is 125, but they could work it out from that. And then we have place value to do with times by 10, 100 and 1,000, and dividing by 10 and 100,000. And it's to do with moving all the digits, and they all move along together. Sometimes in year 6, when we move the digits, we'll forget to move some of them, and it creates a bigger divide and place value. So you have to be really careful, but there are rules for it. So when it's to do with 10, it's 1 place. When it's to do with 100, it's 2 places, and 3. And the 1,000, it's 3 places. And finally, we've got our long multiplication. They're really good with the times tables in year 6, and they're really good with the layout. The element that they tend to forget is these placeholders, because obviously on this occasion, when we're multiplying by the 2, it's not 2, it's actually 20. So they've got to put that placeholder in. And again, it's not 1 that we're multiplying. Yes, we do it through the calculation, but it's actually 100, so we've got to put the placeholder of 100. So these are just some of the snippets that we've learned across year 6 that we need to have in our minds so that we can apply them to our investigations and problem solving throughout summer 2.